Okay, so again, hello, hello, happy Halloween. I don't know what kind of ears these are. So I'm an angelic feline. I hope you can see my wings. Yeah, they're faint, but they're there. Or that expression, something about pigs can fly. These could be pig's ears. But anyway, I have a hard time with anything that presses against my temple. Years ago, as most of you know, I traveled with Up With People, the international traveling cast. And the fourth year I was with them, we ended every show with this song, Where the Roads Come Together. And the words are written by Paul Caldwell. I'm going to just excerpt a few of them here because it'll explain where I'm going with my talk today. For life is a journey, and there are many roads beneath the sky, and there are many good people who don't see eye to eye. Not every man can sing your tune. From where he stands, there's another view. With every turn, we're learning more, and perhaps we'll find that the walls we build are only in the mind. There are many roads to go, and they don't all go the same. But they'll make it, there are many roads to go, and they go by many names. They don't all go the same way, but they get there just the same. And I have a feeling that we'll meet someday where the roads come together up the way. So the title of my talk is Where the Roads Come Together is Not a Place, it's a state of mind. Now, if you think about it, what are all these roads? And what does that metaphor represent? Are they different religions? Are they different careers? Are they perhaps different lifestyles and different value systems? When it comes to the physical plane, that could mean just about anything where we're headed. And sometimes we don't know where we're going. Now we have the metaphor of the compass, and the compass, as we know, always points north. And if you're trying to go, if you know where you're going, like if I wanted to go to San Diego, I would know if there were no roads to take me there, that I would have to say, okay, that way's north. And the compass would say that's north. And then I would say, okay, I have to head west and a little southwest, and I'll get there. The compass gives us our bearings. But that only helps when we know where we want to go, when we know where it is that we're going. Doesn't help too much if we don't. How many of you are, let's see, Pirates of the Caribbean fans? Let's see a show of hands. So everybody knows who Captain Jack Sparrow is, yes? Yes. The guy with all the makeup. Well, Captain Jack Sparrow had a special compass. You remember what was special about it, you pirate fans? It did not point north, it pointed to the Black Pearl. Now, the Black Pearl was his ship that had been taken from him. And so his friend, who was a witch, a sea witch, gave him this enchanted compass that wherever he was, the compass pointed to the Black Pearl. If the Black Pearl was his heart's desire, what's your heart's desire? And do you have a compass that points in that direction? problem for many people is that they don't really know what they want. Michael Beckwith calls that an intention deficit disorder. Intention deficit disorder. Not really knowing where you want to go, not really knowing what you want out of life. And so you let life just take you randomly wherever it will. Sometimes that will get you home. And other times it helps to kind of really ask those questions. What do I want? And where do I want to go? Last week, Jeff Staten shared with us an Ernest Holmes quote that I just really, really like. It says, "The ultimate goal of life is the complete emancipation from all discord of every nature. And that goal is to be attained by all." I'll say that again. This is not a physical goal. This is not, I want to become rich, or I want to travel the world, or I want to heal a particular thing in my body, or I want to meet somebody. I want to meet Mr. Right, Mrs. Right, or something. Those are goals in this world, in the three-dimensional reality. But what is the ultimate purpose of life? What is the ultimate goal in life? It doesn't have anything to do with this physical reality. The ultimate goal of life is the complete emancipation from all discord of every nature. And that goal is sure to be attained by all. I would say Ernest Holmes is very, very optimistic, except that the same idea is quoted or echoed in the introduction to A Course in Miracles. This is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. These are the things you need to learn, but you can take as long as you want to on Fantasy Island, playing war games, horror games, love romantic movies, and all the rest. No hurry. But when all of that shows up to be empty, then take this course. And that includes all of the teachings of this church. It includes all of the teachings of unity. It includes all of the truth teachings all around the world. The course is getting out of thinking this reality has any promise of ultimate happiness for us. Temporary, momentary, yes, of course. But the ultimate is something else altogether. Another quote by Ernest Holmes that I really, really like: "Our highest satisfaction comes from a sense of conscious union with this invisible life. Finding such an inward wholeness that all sense of fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanishes." He's saying the same thing, isn't he? But it's just so beautifully stated. Our highest satisfaction. We can get satisfaction from a better job and more money. We can get a satisfaction from a happy marriage. Of course we can. But the highest satisfaction, and the one that will please everybody on earth, is the sense of conscious union with the invisible life force of God, finding such an inward wholeness that all sense of fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanishes. But do we have to wait until some undetermined day in the future where all the roads come together up the way? If you look around us, the world seems to be shattering, splintering into more and more pieces, into more and more camps of us and them, at least if you listen to the news. But there are other groups. I mean, there are other times when humanity comes together with no problems at all. I mean, think of a good sporting event. Think of a great music concert. think of Comedy Central. At that point, is anybody in the audience turning to his neighbor and say, what do you think about politics? No. Is anybody turning to somebody and saying, what's your religion? Which church do you go to? No. They aren't thinking in terms of things that divide us mentally. They're just enjoying the moment, the live moment of sports, of music, of laughter. Church service is much the same way. Even natural disasters bring us together in a way that, you know, we're all there for the sake of humanity, for the community. We all pull together when there's a flood, when there's a fire, when there's any kind of a disaster. So there is hope out there of people coming together long before everyone on the planet wakes up. And I think that when you think about it, what can we do individually on an individual basis? We start to realize that we're already connected. We're already connected energetically. And so there's a sense of resonance, if you will, that's constantly going on between people. If you've walked into a room where they were having an argument and they suddenly stopped, you know, oh, the vibes in here don't feel very good. There's something happening. There's something off here. You always can tell when somebody is smiling and yet that their eyes are not smiling. You can tell. That's part of the resonance I'm talking about. But if we're conscious about it, if we're conscious about that, if we're aware of it, we can affect positively those around us. I'd like to share a story with you that comes from the book called Resonance. A doctor describes the morning rounds when he asked a Tibetan monk and physician, Yeshe Donden, to go on rounds with him, and his students, his, what do they call them, interns? And they went into a woman's room, and Yeshe, without knowing anything about the woman at all, he was not foretold about her, just that the doctor wanted him to look at his patient. On entering this patient's room, Yeshe, without speaking, gazed a long time at a point above where the woman lay. Finally, he took her hand, and a half hour later, listened in silence to the pulses. During that time, he listened to the pulses that told him the secrets of her illness. Dr. Seltzer was standing at the foot of the woman's bed, and he describes his feelings watching this. He says, all of them at once, I was envious, not of him, not of Yeshe, his gifts of beauty and holiness, but of her. I would like to be touched like that. I would like my hand held like that, received. And I know I have been palpitating 100,000 pulses in my career, but have not felt a single one. No words were exchanged, yet as Yeshe Donden turned to leave, the woman called to him, "Thank you, doctor." In a voice both urgent and serene, "Thank you, doctor." Yeshe Donden asked no questions. He didn't attempt to cure her. He listened to the murmurings of her body and later provided a complete diagnosis that matched exactly what her attending physician already knew. In his words, the last spendings of an imperfect heart. In the doctor's words, congenital heart failure. Yeshe Donden's presence, the seed of his being, nurtured both the woman and the attending physicians. The truth is that the longing to be touched, to be listened to by someone who receives our truth, held in our bodies, that desire is universal. And now, after more than 50 years, the doctor recognizes with gratitude the times in his life when he has been touched by something sacred, the times where a generous listening presence has helped to connect him to the center of his being. Now, are we monks from Asia? No. However, you all know, we know, and many of them are sitting in this room right now, people who lift us up just by their presence. My mother was like that. She was bubbly, she was warm, and just being around her or on the phone with her could lift my spirits even out of the deepest doldrums. I remember calling her once and I was really deeply depressed. This is over 40 years ago. And I just decided to call home and she just chattered away. She didn't know that I was depressed. She didn't know why I called. She just started in on her, oh, well, your father's been doing this and I've been doing this and da 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 da. And within 10 minutes, I felt fine. The world was okay. My problems had been put back in their proper proportion. And I never did tell her why I called. She took care of it by the essence of her being. Others can resonate to us as we can resonate to them. Happiness, like hilarity, right? Whenever somebody starts laughing, other people start laughing. That's good. Those things are catchy, but so are anger and despair. So is fear. So then the question is, what do we want people to catch from us? Do we want to be a Yeshidandan type of being that brings a presence into the room of healing and calm and love and peace? Or do we want to walk into a room full of ourselves and all the frustrations and angers that we've been dealing with, or fear about the virus, or fear about this and that and the other thing? It's our choice. It's always our choice. There's another angle on resonance that I think is extremely important here. John Sexton, in his book called Baseball as a Road to God, this is a road I would not have thought of as a road to God, but hey, motorcycle, Zen and motorcycle maintenance, right? You know, I mean, everybody finds their own way to God. Baseball as a road to God. And in this quote, he says, they believed so strongly in themselves that they cast a spell on us. And once we truly believed in them, our belief doubled their strength. The young baseball team ran on the field and they were so sure that they were going to do a great job. They had this in the bag, that their fans started to believe it. And as the fans generated that kind of feeling towards the field, the baseball players were inspired to do even better. This can go for basketball, football, musicians. Hey, I have a friend, Daryl McGee. Some of you know him. He is a Western swing musician. And I've seen him do this. He would always start his shows, his concerts, with the question, what is the most important part of a concert? And he would answer, he would say, most people would say the musicians. Have they rehearsed enough? Have they, are they good? You know, is this going to be a good concert? He says, no, it's the audience. It's the audience, because if the audience is sullen and unresponsive, the musicians just, all their enthusiasm for the concert just goes down and down and down. If they're enthusiastic, if they're excited about it, then it's going to lift them up. So he always tells the audience, he says, an audience can make or break a performance in how they respond. And then he would say, so I'm going to teach you your part. And he would say, when I get to the end of a final end of a trum, I want all of you to start screaming and yelling and clapping and saying how wonderful it was, you know, really showing us how wonderful it was. And he said, so we're going to rehearse it now. And he would go through it, And then everybody's supposed to clap and sing, and, yell and woo, 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 woo. And he'd keep it up. He'd make them, get excited. And he'd say, now, just for the best part of this, he'd say, a standing ovation's even better. So let's practice that one in case we don't get one at the end of the show. And by the time they actually started the concert, the audience, the energy was there. The energy was there. And then the performers would perform, and it would just keep building throughout the rest of the night, to where they did get a standing ovation when they performed for my conference, Humanities Society conference. And they probably got a lot of them, but that's one I was witness to. Love, we talked about love. I love that song. It was so perfect for today's talk. Love is to meet a person where they are in consciousness, but to treat them as though their spiritual potential was realized. Isn't that lovely? That's Howard Thurman. Love is to meet a person where they are in consciousness, but to treat them as though their spiritual potential was already actualized. That's beautiful. So we can help other people believe in themselves by our not paying attention to their ego manifestations and only seeing God, spirit, the truth of their being, and reacting to that truth no matter what else they may be exhibiting in the moment. It's our choice. It's always our choice. Isn't that wonderful? If we understand resonance, we can be a healing presence on this earth. The power of resonance is great, and we choose the gift that we would give the world by our presence. So have a good week.
Thank you.